The fruit. The fruit. The brute and the fruit. The brute.
The fruit. And the fruit.
This used to be the land of music. Once upon a time.
I know.
When there was cheap rent.
It's still, the thing is that it's still, the problem with the music world today is that there's no, since the internet, there's no growth.
Yeah.
It's just, it's kind of like,
The internet's ruined everything.
and so
Truly.
you end up having, instead of having like people, like someone read, this is, I was listening to a podcast and the guy read, since 2010, the top active rock songs, the top 10. The youngest song on that list was from 1994.
Wow.
So this is since 2010.
Is that Nirvana?
No, it was, Nirvana, no, number one was, shit, what was number one? Like, it was all like the way you think, you know, fucking Smells Like Teen Spirit, Even Flow, Self-Esteem by Offspring was the youngest song on that whole list.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But there was I can't remember if it was Alice in Chains, Man in the Box, I think might be number one.
Wait, so it was all like grunge and
Yeah, and since 2010.
It wasn't like Foo Fighters and cock rock and shit.
No, it's all the Nielsen ratings for the most played songs on active rock radio since 2010. The top 10 were all songs from the 90s and before.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's like, so like
There's a reason
we were
for
the land of music. No, there's still great music here. It's what happened is that the fucking industry is completely just kind of fucked. It's all backwards now.
Yeah.
There's no, like, I was talking about this with someone recently as well. Like, there's no, you would think that attitude would be different, or would be swapped in the sense of like bands providing a service for venues.
Right.
But really the attitude is flipped. It's these venues are acting as if they're giving you, it's all on the artist, but it's, we're giving, but you know, hey, we're, you know, you should thank us.
You're lucky to be able to
most of these
play your original music.
venues don't even really advertise the shows, with the exception of like maybe throwing out a message on the internet. But there's no promotion.
Right.
There's none of these
But now
bars,
it's easier to promote.
none of these
more than
bars
ever.
will actually go over and above to promote. They put that all on the band.
Yeah.
And then it's the band. It's all these bands to try to bring people to these venues.
But you think it would be, this is the best and easiest time to ever advertise for anything. So if you're a venue, it doesn't take too much to have a social media presence, put stuff on Facebook
they don't necessarily have to, because they can put it all on the bands to then make it so now, you know, like certain venues, hey, we're giving you a shot, but you have to pre-sell tickets. Oh, hey, play our festival, but how many people are you actually going to bring out to play our festival?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, wait a minute, why can't we be like, hey, like we're the artist that's performing,
right?
We're providing the entertainment. What are you going to bring to us to make it worth our time to be there?
Yeah.
What kind of crowd are you going to have at your show for us? And
I mailed some venue in Bellingham that I was having kind of a back and forth, and they're like, well, how many, like, what do you think you can sell up in Bellingham? I was like, I don't know. We never played in Bellingham.
Right.
So it's like, if you're a place that does music, can't you just...
Yeah, what do you say? They expect a band from Everett to bring their fans up to Bellingham.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like, ridiculous.
Well, a lot of these venues are like, well, how many people can you bring out?
It's like,
and it's like, well, we literally just sent you
100,000.
Yeah, you're a college town.
We literally just sent you a message saying we've never played down there before, but we'd like to get our foot in the door.
Right.
You know?
Like, well, what do you think you can do? I don't know. How many people come to your shows in general?
Does your venue play our kind of music, and what kind of numbers do you get?
But it's not like that at all. It's so backwards.
Weird. It's so
like
weird.
my buddy was talking about how he's a photographer, and he was like talking about how he'd love to start doing paid work. But like he says anytime he talks to anyone about starting to do a gig, they either back out or it turns out to be something like kind of shitty. Like there was some clothing company, a brand or whatever that he was talking to, and there was this whole thing where they basically said, "Well, you need to buy our clothes and then take some pictures or whatever, and then like maybe we'll put you in our like your picture in our magazine or something." And he's just like, "Isn't that kind of fucked up? Don't you think if you were trying to get advertisement out, that like you would give your shit to someone and then like."
Yeah, that's pretty standard.
Right, but like, but you would think now it's like I said, it's like there's a venue in Seattle. The reason why I'm thinking of this because I remember a friend years ago did this. There's a venue called the Nectar down in Fremont, and they had you would pre-sell tickets. And I remember like the one thing that I remember Ledford telling me is a thing that I kind of believe. So it was like good advice. He was like, never ever deal with pre-sale tickets. So it's bullshit. He's like, you should never have to pay to play. That's essentially all it is.
Right.
And these venues act like that's like they're like, you know what I mean? Because then a lot of times they're really just kind of just so kind of just nasty in a way to you, like where you don't even feel welcome there.
Well, so many of the venues, it seems like, are just bars or places that have once in a while things going on, and so people don't actually go there for music. And then when you have a band there, it's like not that many people show up or want to be there.
Right, and the pay-to-play thing is weird because it's in like, I can sell tickets to my friends. Like they don't want that. They have no desire to attract new customers. No, their thing is you get people that you know,
and it's like it's a burden.
Right.
It's like well, you know, a lot of them will give you their specs where it's like, you know, $250 off. We take $250 off the top of the door, so that way we can pay the people working. Then anything after that can be split up amongst the bands.
Right. It's like, no, you're gonna make.
They do that. They and then
$3,000 off drinks.
So then it's like when the show's over with, and there was only like 35 people that showed up at $10 a piece. That's $350. And so then they fucking give each band like $20 and tell them to get the fuck out. If they even do that.
The guy that's one of the bartenders that works up at the Eagles, because my dad plays in a bar band. They just play covers, and they're not even that great. They're just like fun, and they just play the party music. And the bartender, a couple days later, I was in the bar sitting with him because he was drinking, and he said he made like $2,000 in tips because there was so much. Yeah, because there were so many people there. And it's like it's New Year's, but at the same time, it's not like it's a massive venue. It's a little shitty place in Granite Falls.
The Anchor showed in the day, no cover, and every band would get paid at the end of the night at least $100.
Yeah,
because you're getting a percentage off the fucking off the bar, and you know, honestly, it was usually over $100. And the place would always have people there. It's just there's no these venues don't have like promotion. It's all on the bands.
Right. And they act like the incentive is not on their part. The incentive is on the band.
Yeah. We're doing you the favor.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
And it's like that's not true. A bunch of people show up, they buy tickets, they buy drinks, they eat food, and you make a bunch of money.
Yeah, if there wasn't a show tonight, then you would not be open, or you'd be open and you would have 3 people drinking at the bar.
Right.
So you should have more incentive to get people in there.
Yeah. Some people are a little more
There's
gung-ho about
different.
it.
They're different, but it just seems to be the overriding kind of attitude.
Yeah, it's like the places that there's certain ones that are very cordial and
It's
very
the reason
happy
why
to
we're
have you
not.
there.
It's the reason why we're not able to make a living at what we do, because there's no. It's not, the system is not set up to do that.
Yeah.
You know, if this was the 90s or the 80s or the 70s, we'd be able to fucking make a living, because there are places that needed entertainment. They need entertainment because there's people there expecting entertainment.
Right.
And then
Now people don't go out.
now people don't go out.
Yeah, people don't go out. That's
They
another
don't-
weird thing.
The only people who go out are older people. The only people that still want to like go see live music. It seems like
Hmm.
most young kids. I don't know. Maybe they're going to different shows, but in bars.
I don't think so. They just don't go out. It's a weird
just
thing
stay-
where it's just like, I mean, I can understand because I'm getting older, so I don't really like to go out after 8. But there's a lot of people that don't care about going out to shows. But I think part of it is that they've never, like, especially in the last several years, last 3 or 4, especially the last 2 years, where people are coming into their drinking age, where they've never been out to see a show,
Right.
or they've never thought about it, or they've never had an incentive to.
They just want to play games and watch live streams. And
Yeah, they want to watch people play video games on the internet.
well, lives aren't real anymore. Everyone just wants fake shit.
Right. It's spooky.
It is weird. People don't like real life experiences anymore. It's not interesting enough, and it's hard work.
It's not that. It's,
Yeah.
I don't even. Is it really because it's not interesting, or is it because?
Well, I mean, how
It's
could you
just-
beat the extremes of the internet? You know, you can never fuck the chick you see in porn or the hot dude. You can never, do the things people do in movies.
Yeah, but still, there's such a fucked like way to come at anything, because like, sure, you're never gonna fuck the chick you see in porn, but you're still the excitement of the fucking act,
Right.
the excitement of like courting a gal, you know what I mean, and like, and the date and all that, like, human life experience, like.
Just seems like people are too sheltered to even. They're anxious about all that. They don't want to. All the young people. I know.
Yeah, and they don't have as much of a desire to go out, because why go through the effort or the risk of being rejected or the risk of being uncomfortable when you can experience the entire thing
You can
sort of
just be
online?
ace. You can just be ace and be
Yeah,
online.
that's why
You're not,
pornography is so bad for you.
You're not experiencing it. That's the thing.
I know.
You don't really experience it. You're doing
It's a
some
simulation.
fucked up, ooh. Like you're not really experiencing it.
They're just voyeurs.
Which is why this whole metaverse thing, it's like, it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I guess maybe I'm a little behind. They probably do make masturbators that are pretty lifelike now, I'm assuming, for men, but like,
and women.
well, yeah, but they've had, like, I'm just saying, like, there's got to be some sort of like realistic feeling.
Well, maybe after COVID's finally done, if it ever is, people will.
It's almost midterms now, so COVID is finally reaching a
March 21st.
March 21st here in Washington State.
midterms.
Well, no,
election.
that's when they're dropping the COVID thing, because then that's about the time that they're going to start running campaigns and shit. And so then they're going to run these phony things. That's the thing is, it's really obnoxious about how they calculate, like, there's been a rise in new jobs. We've gotten a certain percentage of new jobs and like income and stuff. It's because all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they just decide, okay, we're going to start opening everything back up. and we're gonna start saying you don't have to wear a mask. You can go out and party. They reduced the stay-at-home time, the isolation time, if you've gotten sick or whatever, from 14 days to 5 days. And they just did that because there was like there's a company called Delta something or whatever. They're like $1 billion corporation that was like, hey, CDC, can you recommend 5 days instead of 14 because we need to get some more action here? And then so they're like, oh,
that
yeah,
sounds
that's fine.
about as reputable as the shit that happened during The Big Short. You know, where it was like, hey, can you say this is like a AAA loan when really it's like a triple B loan. Oh yeah. You know what? Hey, we trust you.
We're not gonna check.
Yeah. So that's how this whole thing is. So now, like I said, they did if you calculate, this is how you lie by statistics, is that, well, under Biden's first year, we've had this tremendous rise in income and fucking it's whatever. But the reason that it's being able to be calculated that way is because as soon as he got elected, or at least like 6 months afterwards, then all the Democrat governors started opening everything up. And when they started doing that, then there started to be more money pumped into the economy, blah, blah, blah. People started going back to work. And so there was this huge surge.
Well,
and it was an artificial surge.
There's going to be a crash, right?
I don't think there's going to be... there's going to be an economic crash, and it's going to be the apocalypse, and...
Yeah.
If you don't have any gold or silver, then you're going to be fucked.
You're going to get raped in the mouth.
That's going to be a long time from now. That's like 8 months from now.
Yeah.
But it's a fake statistic because they halted everything artificially, and then at their whim, then they let everything keep going. So then it's like, oh man, all of a sudden we've got these great numbers. It's like, no, the only reason the numbers are like that is because you fucked everything up to begin with.
I don't know. I mean, there was Delta after, the variant Delta after Biden got in office. And they were saying they're trying to shut everything down again for that. So I don't know if they really opened everything up.
Well, no, but that was 6 months ago.
Masks will still be required in healthcare settings like hospitals and doctors' offices.
Probably the airport.
At long-term care facilities, prisons, and jails. They'll also still be required on public transit, taxis, ride-hail vehicles. I don't know what that means, and school buses.
Taxi. That's
school
taxi.
buses. See, that's the thing that pisses me off.
Private businesses and local governments that want to require masks for employees, customers, or residents will still be able to do so.
But see, here's the thing. I really don't mind there being...
And on March 1st, there'll be no more vaccine mandate to go to large events.
Yeah, that was the thing that didn't make any sense at all, because the vaccine doesn't prevent you from contracting or spreading. But I don't mind having a social norm where if you don't feel good, or you got the sniffles, or you feel like you're getting sick or something, and you wear a mask, like, I'm fine with that. I wear a mask everywhere today because I've got a cold sore on my nose. And I don't want people to look at me.
If you're feeling ugly, feel free to wear a mask.
Right. That's what I always said. The masks are for better faces.
See, I don't know, man. Like, I think that if everyone lives too bubbled up, then you're obviously gonna be more susceptible to things. You know, it's like when you're little kid. That's like when you're a little kid. They let you he's eating dirt. Okay.
Yeah.
Big deal.
Good for you.
He'll be alive. He'll live.
Right.
You know,
the human body. That's the thing. Humans are incredibly, resilient to very nasty things. Like, there's people that get blown up in war and they survive. There's people that go through horrible cancer bouts and they survive. It's like people are very strong. Like, the human body is extraordinary. I mean, just think about it. We're the most intelligent life in the universe as far as we know. Like, we can solve a lot of issues.
Nah, dude, mushrooms.
Well, then you do.
Mushrooms are smarter.
Don't
you know that?
Have
and dolphins.
And dolphins.
You have people who
elephants.
They just worry about.
Killer
my
whales.
God, I don't want to die, and they spend the last 2 years panicked about not wanting to die. But at the
Right.
same time, it's like you're not even living your life.
Right.
So what are you doing?
Right. You're existing. You're not living. And it's like this weird thing where I make this joke, but it's like, remember back before COVID when we were immortal? And it's like now all of a sudden it's like, what? You could get you could get an illness and then die.
No,
So for
one,
almost
no one thought
everybody
about it.
Yeah. Almost everybody who's died of COVID has been over the age of like 70. And matter of fact, the average age of a death of a COVID patient is beyond life expectancy, which I think is like 80. The average age is 80.
Where are you getting these statistics?
You have to look them up.
I'm having to check right now. Please
Look up the average
slow
age
down
of
with
a
your
COVID death.
statistics.
I didn't realize we were doing it, but we are a
I'm
news
the
program.
fax machine, but I'm
The
not
Brute and the Fruit
quick.
does try to provide accurate news. As much as we like to joke, I think it's important that we get shit right.
Who do I trust? CDC?
I think that would be a good place to start. Although they're also full of shit. It's hard. Was it the-
COVID-19 mortality overview.
CDC also says, because they've got, when they do like a list of causes of death, there's like 4 different lines.
65 and over is 74.4%. 45 to 64 is 21.4%. 196,000 deaths. And under 45 is 4.2%. 38,000 deaths. That's what it says.
Right. Those are the ones that make up for the deaths. Can we find out an average age of the deaths? Mr. Fax Machine.
Oh, you really put me on the spot here.
But anyways, just because there's something that's deadly out there doesn't mean that you have to paw all the stops to make sure it doesn't happen. This is the point I tried to make to a friend of mine that was trying to tell me, well, you know, if it
Who's trying to
saves
stop
one life, it's worth it.
motorcycle riders?
Huh?
I mean, riding a motorcycle is incredibly dangerous.
Well, right. That was another thing. It's like Jimmy Dore made this point where he goes, because people were saying, well, if you don't get your vaccine, you deserve to die. You don't deserve treatment. And he goes, okay, what if you're a rock climber and you fall and you seriously injure yourself? You shouldn't have been climbing rocks. Like, you shouldn't be driving fast. You shouldn't be eating too many cheeseburgers. You shouldn't be drinking so much. So you do not get the treatment that your job as a doctor and a nurse is to save lives.
In 2020, the average age was 77.
Okay, 77. So the average age of them
In 2020.
Yeah.
So in 2022, the average age is, oh my God, 44.
Good Lord. We're all doomed.
It changes month by month. I can't. They don't. Yeah. It's somewhere between 67 and 77 most months, it seems. It's not over.
2 weeks, guys.
2 weeks to flatten the curve.
2 weeks, baby.
Remember those days? That was actually really when it first started, it was kind of fun. Like, I remember...
Wow, the world's ending. What's going to be different? You know,
Well, no, I just remember it was such a weird thing.
It was very weird. It was
Like
just such a weird...
Yeah, and I
we
didn't
were
work.
reminiscing about this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's back in the good old days, remember? No, because I remember... Because it was like March or April of 2020.
It was
Matter of fact, it was like the beginning of April.
Yeah, it was April,
it was the end of March, because it was the middle of March is when it was first announced.
I think February is when we had the first case
but
in the United States, and then in
January.
March is where
I
people were like,
remember specifically because we were on our way to Ellensburg for the Moon is Flat.
Yep.
You were with us.
Yep. I remember
And
this.
we went over to we were going to Ellensburg and Wenatchee, and we took the days off, and we had all shit planned. And I remember all of our family members, my mom in particular, was calling and being like, "Don't go!
Yeah.
They're bringing in the
National Guard.
and they're shutting the borders down.
Yep.
You do not go. You're going to be stuck." And we went,
man.
and it was all like,
Which made it even funner.
it made it more just like, this is insane.
Yeah.
Like, this is insane. well, we're going. Like, we're going.
Right.
And we went.
That was fun.
We got there, and it was like the people. When we got there, it was like a ghost town. But then the people who were there were all like in really jovial spirits. We all kind of laughed about it, and we had a hotel, and like I remember the next morning we made the long drive into Wenatchee, and kind of just like were lazy all day, like in the motel room, just kind of like resting because we partied the night before. But like it was just all kind of like, huh, you know what I mean? Like it was just kind of dead. Everything was dead.
Yeah.
And like we watched, there was a UFC.
Subdued.
There was a UFC on that day that they had like moved to Brazil like last moment so they could get it going. But it was like in this like half empty room, you know. And I remember that being bizarre, like watching on TV, just being like, "That's so weird. It's so quiet there."
Where were you?
Yeah, where were you? Would they give us
down
the
the
COVID?
Where were you?
Shut down the border.
But I remember there was clips from China, supposed clips from China, where people were just like walking down the street and then collapsing from the deadliness.
remember.
It was like a zombie apocalypse.
I never saw those.
Oh yeah, I saw those clips. They
No, I never
were
saw
showing
that
them on all
shit.
sorts of and so people in China.
I remember
were like,
Trump's
they're like, we had-
speech. He's like saying it wasn't going to come here. We got it under control. And then we had like the first case in this state.
Well, no, I remember the
I
first
remember
thing.
I remember when the
Awful.
very first case got here. I was at a friend of ours' house where we used to get together every Tuesday, and it was like Tuesday, like we'd all smoke out. And I remember there were like 6 of us sitting in there, and this house is like 3 blocks away from Everett General, and like everyone was like, "Hey, did you guys see the fucking plagues in town or something like that?" And like, so it was like we're in Ground Zero, like, and it was kind of like we were joking about it, and then then it was just kind of like, well, look, get it under control. Oh, it's not under control. We're shutting everything down, and I just remember thinking like, shutting everything down. How does that work?
Yeah.
Yeah, how
You
does
know,
that work?
How does that work? You mean we just don't? Everyone gets
You don't go
Stay
to work.
inside.
You
day
don't,
off? What? And then it was
Yeah,
like
there's
essential.
not, yeah.
Only essential workers will go.
which
Well,
is
what-
about the most
so then-
offensive thing you can say.
So then, like essential. What was the definition of essential?
Well, yeah,
you know?
then they just lifted up to companies who are like, fuck it.
right. It was
Yeah,
like
it was fluid.
because essential is a very broad term.
Right.
It's like, well, what's really essential, but what's essential? You know. Mm-hmm. So that Monday we showed up to work, and they're like, and we do fire sprinklers. So yeah, we're technically plumbing, but like we're doing fire sprinklers in new homes that people aren't living in yet.
Right.
That aren't even finished. So how essential is that to get done? Mm-hmm. You know? But they said, oh, we're essential. Okay, fine. Live my life like normal. Mm-hmm. And then everything's shutting down Wednesday. And I remember pulling up Wednesday and my boss standing there just going like, no, they messed it up. We're not.
Yeah, you're not essential because you're not an emergency. Like I was sort of in a weird middle ground because we do residential repairs. But then the jobs that we are currently working on, it was like, well, once you get a certain, like you turn the plumbing back on and you get stuff hooked back up and they're like, you don't do the drywall repair or anything or the painting because that's not essential. What's essential is just doing the basic shit. So then we reached a point where we didn't start any new jobs. So then we took like 2 months off or something. It was ridiculous.
I was only able to take a month.
Mhm.
And like it was so like I had a month a month vacation essentially for COVID, and the rest of this time I've been working like
Yeah.
it's normal. So I got a COVID vacation in the very beginning.
Yeah.
You know? And like I remember Berger and I like going and cruising because like we weren't allowed to go anywhere. We weren't allowed to go do anything.
and
You're only allowed to be out with people you supposedly lived with.
right, and the people I was with were concerned. It was like, well, people coming in, I don't know. So then it was like, and you had kind of the same situation.
kinda
I
same
think.
situation,
So it was like,
yeah.
all right. So it was like a rendezvous. It's like we had to.
It was like sneak. It was
Yeah.
like this thing where it was like, oh, dude, we should hang out.
Well, we can't hang out
We can't hang
anywhere.
out
It's like
In
Burger's
particular,
typical meetup.
we can't go to a restaurant. We can't go have
Yeah.
food. We can't. So then we'll just drive.
We just drove around.
Yeah. It was
And-
weird. It was fun.
It was kind of cool. It was,
like
it was
looking
an
back on
adventure.
it. Looking back on it, it's I sort of reminisce because it was really a lot of fun.
I mean, like the best part of the whole time in reality was the Grand Canyon trip.
Oh yeah. Wow. Yeah,
Well,
and going to Vegas with the masks and
As a
everything.
working stiff, I was not essential as a office stiff
Yeah.
guy, and the boss man said, you just kind of try to sell dumb shit here so you can go home, and I was laid off, and it saved my marriage though
Well, that's good.
for a short amount of time.
Well, yeah, we all know what happened.
I don't know what you're talking about, but it was a good run. It's a good run.
Yeah.
But yeah, the really weird thing was when it first started, and there was like you didn't know, like there was this weird because for me in my conspiracy mind, I was like, this is kind of all bullshit, right? Because these people are liars, like they lie us into wars. They obviously don't care about human life.
I
because
remember
they're obsessed with
arguing.
war.
I would like getting in an argument with my mom about it at the time, and telling her I remember telling her you need to chill out. This shit is not as bad as they're exaggerating. This is all being very exaggerated right now. You know, like just calm down, and just being told how, you know,
Irresponsible.
yeah, and just all this shit, and it's just like we. Just
You need to take this seriously.
Right.
Like people are dying.
right. God, that you need to take it serious.
Yeah.
So just because I'm skeptical of it doesn't mean I'm not necessarily taking it serious.
Right. You can't be. Yeah.
You can't. But I mean, but that was the thing. That when at the time it was like we're just shutting. Hey, it was the scene in Jaws where they're like, we're gonna have to close the beaches, and like close the beaches, and then the mayor's like, for only for 24 hours. Only for 24 hours, and and Brody's like, I never agreed to that. But like, we're only for 2 weeks. We're only shutting everything down for 2 weeks. It's
Yeah.
only gonna be 2 weeks. It's gonna be good and gone.
Keep moving the goalpost.
They're like, well, it's gonna be indefinitely. And so then, anyways, they make you go on. They make you go on this unemployment, and
Yeah, which was
which
weird.
which already had infrastructure. They
Yeah,
already had
imagine that.
infrastructures and shit in place. It was only a couple days before they had the decals on the floors that already had like the branded decals of like walk this way, walk this way. It was like, oh, wow,
Maintain
you must have
safe-
had it a whole.
And they get. Here's one of the things that irritates me about government, like fake bullshit conspiracies or fucking when they try to lull you into saying certain phrases and thinking a certain way. It was like it wasn't that long till we started using the phrase social distancing.
Yeah.
Maintain safe social distancing. It's like I don't ever want to hear that fucking phrase again.
Yeah.
You guys sound like a couple old fogies right now, just reminiscing about the.
We're not
the old
reminiscing.
plague
We're
days.
discussing the fact that we made the comment that 2 weeks, ha ha ha, and it's because it's been 3 years or 2 years.
Yeah. And it wasn't that like that's the thing. There's also studies that have come out now that have said that the lockdown the more specific studies were that the lockdowns did not have any effect.
Well, it's like Y2K. Everyone,
Don't make me fact check this.
people who freaked out about Y2K, then it didn't happen, and then
Do it.
It didn't happen, and it's like, oops, our bad. Okay.
But that was like a 24-hour
Yeah.
thing. This one's like Y2K times 1,000.
Or however many days.
Because the other thing was that now they're talking about like regular masks, like N95 masks have an effect. Like they grip your face, they filter shit out. But now they're saying that that cloth masks basically don't work. So it's like, did the science evolve on that? Like, how hard is it to get the science on that? Does
Just hold on. Just imagine there's some poor bloke in a lab somewhere with like a fucking bandana, with scientific like clamps and stuff, holding a bandana, and he's like breathing into it and like testing it and like taking notes and fucking
Taking
missing his child's birthday because he's trying to figure out whether or not these cloth masks work or not.
well, the son of a bitch shouldn't have taken so long. He should have
It's
done it
hard
on his
work.
child's birthday.
It's hard work.
It's not hard work.
I'm saying there's someone making
either
a
works or it doesn't.
sacrifice.
Did you see the somebody's made? Well, there's a couple of them, but there's like a really good compilation video of Fauci talking about masks and everything. It's really good because he's like, you don't need to wear a mask. The thing about masks is that there's unintended consequences. So you wear a mask, you touch your face and you fiddle around, and it doesn't mean it. And so, and one of the guys goes, well, to avoid infectious diseases, maybe if we see somebody coughing or we shy away. He goes, no, you avoid all the paranoid aspects, and you just, you don't drink, you don't smoke. And it's like, those are the things you want to protect your immune system. So then those are like the original videos. And then when COVID came out and they're like, do we need to wear a mask? And he's like, no, you don't need to wear a mask. You might think, people think they have some kind of protection, but they really don't. And then a week later he goes, you need to wear a mask. The mask protect you from gross droplets. They do them. And then he goes, but you don't really need to wear a mask. Children don't really need to wear a mask outside. I mean, the children play. And he goes, you need to wear a mask. Children, we need to wear 2 masks. It's like, what? What?
The science evolves.
The science doesn't evolve on basic shit. Like, this is basic shit. It's not like the science evolved on warp drive. On whether or not we can get to Mars in 11 minutes. Like, that would be an evolution of science, which is like, holy shit, we didn't realize we could go to the moon, and it's like we were driving from
maybe
from
he
New
didn't
York
take
to
into
New
account
Jersey.
droplets the first time he said it. So the next time I stand corrected. There's droplets. You need to wear some masks. Maybe even 2.
Maybe he's just an old piece of shit who invented AIDS.
Maybe he did invent AIDS.
I don't think he invented it. I think he likes AIDS.
He likes it? Like having it, or
He likes
spreading it?
He likes that it exists.
he likes giving people his AIDS?
Right. In a way that
all right, here we go. Ready? Because I'm gonna flip and jump on burgers. Like Tim is so
Here we go.
disgusted right now.
I don't know. I feel like I've heard all these things for like 2 years now.
Fauci's in the same line of people as like the ones who did all the experiments, in the 40s and the 50s. They think that they're doing something for the betterment of humankind for the future. So like right now they don't care about the guinea pigs that they're using because they're megalomaniacs and they'll live forever in their work, their studies. Yeah, it was kind of shitty that he invented AIDS, but hey, they were able to figure out a way
He invented AIDS.
to fix it.
I feel like they're just demons. Who?
It's like the end of Old, the movie, that M. Night Shyamalan movie. It turns out that the place that they're going to is able to run experiments on everyone.
That's
And
really
so their justification at the end of the movie, the people who are running the experiments is that like, well, yeah, but it's for the betterment of everyone. We've been able to save 500,000 people now because of what we just figured out right now.
M. Night Shyamalan was actually talking about, he was alluding to coronavirus.
Yeah, maybe he's probably
And
a
AIDS.
plant.
And AIDS.
And AIDS.
Come to think of it, M. Night Shyamalan looks a lot like Sanjay Gupta.
You know what?
And Justin Trudeau looks a lot like Fidel Castro.
I think we're on
A lot like that. Like, that's...
That one I've heard many
There's a
times.
conspiracy theory about it, but goddamn, the guy looks a lot like Fidel Castro.
What would that do though? Like, he's the son of Fidel Castro?
Yeah. But they can't have the son of Fidel Castro running
why-
for.
Why does that matter? Like,
Well, why do royal bloodlines matter?
It's
in
like
a time
imagine the
ruling?
son of Adolf Hitler. It's like the son of Adolf Hitler runs as like, I'm I'm a
right,
Labor
this
Party
is,
of Canada. It's like, wait a minute though, it's hard because your last name
it's just actually pretty
and
weird
you
how much
look
he
like
looks like
the
him.
guy that was really bad before.
Yeah.
He does look quite a bit.
They look like twins.
Because it's like it's funny how
Eh.
it's funny how like it's in this weird human nature of like just automatically assuming it's like, oh yeah, George Bush Sr. was a president, so George Bush Jr. should be a president too.
I don't know.
And it's like
Fidel Castro's got
Because
more
he
of a round
inherited
face.
the presidential traits of
It's
his father.
hard. It's
But, like,
hard
the thing-
because Fidel Castro is like his pictures are in black and white, and he's got a beard, and so the only thing that you really notice is the forehead and the nose. Which,
No, the
you
definitely
have to find
that
the
was
picture
very
of Castro
similar.
without the beard.
Yeah, go Castro without the beard.
only
It'll
when he
change
was,
your
only
life.
when he was a young man.
But then, like in like things like sports and shit, like there's Michael Jordan.
Chin's very different.
You would automatically go like, "Oh, Michael Jordan's kid's got to be the best." It's like,
Right.
no,
It's like, why?
no, he's not. His kids are not anywhere near as good as he was because it's impossible to fill that kind of
That's a very big shoe.
Big shoe. So it's like
That shoe is a quarter-mile wide.
But then it's like, oh well, the king, of course, King George's son will be a great leader. Look at King George.
Mm-hmm.
And
He passes down his hereditary leadership skills down
it's
to
like-
his son, and then his son, and then his son after him.
the nepotism, it just we do that in so many things. But then there's certain things where we clearly don't do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I guess there's people who have opportunities because of the nepotism, but then ultimately, like, there's some sort of merit that they are judged on where it's like, well, he's clearly not as good as his father, or she's clearly not as good as her
Right.
father, or whatever.
And you're always going to be judged on that.
It's like pro wrestling, like, there's Dusty Rhodes and then there's Cody Rhodes, and it's like everyone, like certain people, like Jim Cornette, just assume that because Cody Rhodes is Dusty Rhodes' kid, that he gets it, and that's Cody wouldn't be that dumb to do that. Well, maybe he is.
Yeah, he
You
is
know,
dumb.
like, Michael Jordan's kid must be incredible at basketball, and it's like, well, maybe he's not. Like,
maybe he sucks.
Maybe he sucks. It's like, or Ken Griffey Jr.'s son Trey was when he was born. The joke, the Mariners, they signed him to a contract or something, or they called like dibs on him, and like because it was like, it's because he's we love Ken Griffey Jr. So Ken Griffey the third must be even
Trudeau's pretty different looking than Castro, though.
I don't think so. They're twins.
Their jaws are different. Their lips are different. Their eyes are different. It's just the nose.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you. That's final. Tim, it's final. It's stamped. The Bruin the Fruit. Stamped. Boom. It's not the same person. Sorry,
I
Burger.
really don't like it when you
Sorry.
put the kibosh on our conspiracy theories.
No,
Well-
it's not a kibosh. He's there.
I didn't even realize it
He's
was.
there to be to verify.
He's there to provide
When
stability.
he looked at the picture, he goes, "Wow, this looks similar." He dug deeper and he came to a conclusion. That's what we do here at the Brute and the Fruit.
We're
Like you
real-
said, we try to bring the truth.
Right.
We're a real.
We're not we don't try to provide
Institution here.
conjecture. We like reality, truth, news, objectivism, justice.
Patriotism.
Who's
that
this
too.
chick Castro's with? Actually, that looks
Like,
like she could
I
be.
like-
That's Justin Trudeau's mom.
Like, it looks like it could be.
When
Trudeau's
I
mom.
watch like UFC, it turned into this joke with Nick Michelle where it's just like America. Like after a good fight or something, and it's like America.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like because
this is
we're
a
fucking
weird
lucky.
picture.
We are so lucky. We're so like no matter how shitty like our rent costs or our bills are and shit, like we are so lucky to be here.
Yeah.
Like we're so fucking lucky that we like ran our parents random the randomness of being lucky here. Like we should never take it for granted that.
Right.
I think a lot of people do, and that's when you get like you get the fucking snowflake or the fucking
Well, the snowflakes. The problem with the snowflakes is that they're too lucky. So then they've never had adversity.
So I'm saying.
And we've had.
What are we?
We're lucky.
Snow?
No, I'm just saying that jokingly been using the term America when something really awesome happens.
Yeah.
Like watching UFC, big fight, and me and Nick will just be like, America, like high five. And he'd be like, you know what? You're right, America. Because
Yeah.
it's like, we're fucking lucky.
It's still the best country in the world, even though it's gotten grosser in the last 20 years. Basically, since we've been adults, it's gotten really bad.
But it's perpetually been getting bad. It's like the Baz Luhrmann, everybody's free wear sunscreen. Every generation's going to look back at the generation before and remember rosy glasses.
Yeah, but if you look at it objectively as far as, like, freedoms...
You could have, because
they didn't have a thing.
There are going to be people that could come on and talk the exact opposite of what you're saying and describe it as being.
But when
you know what,
who
this
you're going
Trudeau
to
thing is actually.
hold on, who are you going to talk to in the 80s? Or somebody who was around in the 80s and be like, hey, we had to wear masks or. This restaurant wasn't allowed to be open because they weren't essential, and we weren't allowed to go inside and eat at a diner. Like, that wasn't a thing. That's exclusive to now.
Right, and then in the 80s, there was shit going on that didn't happen in the 60s, and then so on and so forth.
But like what? Like, it was still
so
free.
on and
the
so
80s,
forth.
By the way, the 80s was the freest. The 90s was, I think the 80s was the peak, and the 90s was still kind of the peak.
What?
And then it descended, and as soon as 9/11 happened, it's been a downward, it's been very bearish as far
You're talking
as
about a freedom?
graph goes. Yeah, as far as freedom
I think
goes.
freedom was before government. There
Do you
we go.
remember 9/11?
Yeah. A little bit.
A little.
I saw a plane hit a building on a TV.
Well, it was a hologram.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't
And
realize.
because of that hologram,
So wait, are you flipping back onto the Trudeau as
Well,
Castro thing?
here's a picture of Margaret Trudeau with her baby being held by Castro, and she's like smiling and they're hanging out together. And it turns out Justin said, I know my father was very proud to call him a friend, and I had the opportunity to meet Fidel when my father passed away.
is that what Justin said?
Yeah.
Why would he want to meet Fidel? He's a monster. Meeting Fidel is like meeting Hitler. And can I explain this? I don't know if I've done it on the show.
I didn't know they had a Holocaust.
I think
I
this is
didn't know
really
Cuba had a Holocaust.
I think this is really important to distinguish here. Because when people say Hitler, then they say, well, that's comparisons of Hitler are just, they're far-fetched, and because nobody's reached that level of evil except for, Mao or Stalin. But let me ask you this. Who's worse? The guy who rapes and murders 5 women, or the guy who rapes and murders 1,000 women?
Well, they're both bad.
1,000.
Who's more evil?
They're both bad.
Who's more evil?
The more.
I disagree. I'd say they're both equally evil. One got away with more. One achieved more.
Oh, I disagree.
One has a higher body count. They're
Yeah.
both equally evil because anybody who could rape and murder is like the most evil human who could exist. Right? It's like, how flat can a tire get?
It could get more flat.
How about you don't see anyone named Hitler these days? So
Right.
they immediately.
How many people are named Fidel? I don't.
But I'm just saying, people immediately after World War II, or probably during World War II, were changing their name. Like, there was probably a lot of like Jared Hitler.
Oh, for sure.
Steve Hitler, and they all started changing their fucking name.
Well, imagine this.
So, how many people are named Castro are changing their name?
Yeah. No, that's
one.
1,000%. Like, people who
So, Fidel Castro's not as bad as Hitler.
Well, okay. Whoa.
No one can.
No.
Go, I'm just saying the perception.
What did he do that was
The
so?
perception.
Did he have like a mini Holocaust?
No one is named Hitler these days.
Right.
There's no one named Hitler, and if they were, they'd be embarrassed for it.
Because they changed their name.
There's plenty of people named Castro.
Is there?
Yeah, there's plenty. There's baseball players named Castro.
But that's the thing, because Castro's considered to be left. So people wear, like, Che Guevara t-shirts. Like, nobody wears an Adolf Hitler t-shirt.
Well, of course not, because he's Adolf Hitler. He's Hitler.
Right.
No one wears No one wears fucking Mussolini shirts.
Nobody even knows what Mussolini looks like. because he didn't.
Does he look like Trudeau too?
He didn't achieve the level of evil that Hitler did. So it's like when you watch movies back in the early 90s and it's like it got a really low score on Rotten Tomatoes, but if it came out now, it would get like 80%. It's because everything else.
But it's the same thing that goes with like serial killers. More people probably know what Ted Bundy looks like than fucking, BTK killer.
Right.
But they're all fucking horrible.
Right. One was more commercialized because supposedly Ted Bundy was handsome, which to me, I look at him and he looks like a man who kills people.
I don't think he looks bad, but I'm not into dudes.
But more people talk about Adolf Hitler than Chairman Mao, who killed more people than Hitler. Chairman Mao is much more, not more evil. He's equally as evil, but he killed 10 times as many people as Hitler did.
How do you do it?
Chairman Mao?
Yeah.
I don't know, fucking war and sanctions and shit. Look at Chairman Mao and look at Stalin. They killed more people than Adolf Hitler. But Adolf Hitler had a very weird, gross way of murdering people.
Yeah. Well, that's fun. Fun topic. Conversation. Who's a worse?
That's I find that interesting.
I find it fascinating. I've never murdered anybody.
Really?
Yeah.
Me neither.
I mean, what do you count as murder?
I do have a clean trunk, and I've been told that makes me look like a murderer.
I've seen your trunk. It's a nice trunk.
Thank you. I keep it clean.
In fact, your car is so clean and so pristine that I'm dubious of how I should view you, because you've had that car for like 3 years.
It's so clean and pristine. It's like you're like, I never want to see a black light in here.
Like
Right.
2017, actually, I've had it.
It's like if really 2017.
Yeah.
So you've had it for 5 years. That thing looks like it should be in a museum.
Well, I like to keep it tight, taut.
It looks taut. It certainly looks taut.
I know where
and it
my
looks
towel
too
is.
clean, and it looks so pristine.
Yeah, I get people saying, "Wow, what do you do?" Like,
It looks like a chariot from heaven. That's what it looks like. It still smells like you bought it 3 minutes ago.
I don't understand the connection to murders because what are they like being clean or something?
Yeah, because they try to cover their tracks.
Oh,
So everything has to be very clean.
Yes. Immaculate.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they find it fascinating when there's a killer who's like really like who gets away with shit for a while, but they're like crazy sloppy about it.
Yeah.
A lot of it's just like bad detective work or.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember which there was a famous one like the Hillside Strangler or some famous murderer who was just super sloppy with what they'd break in and shit would go wrong and they'd rape and come everywhere and then kill and then they leave and like no, seriously.
It's like you have to. One of the things you have to do when you're a serial killer or especially a serial rapist, you have to contain the cum.
they're very neat coming.
Yeah, but they find it more. I think they find it more sadistic if you're raping and using condoms. Like when I listen to true crime podcasts, and they'll mention if there's the murderers or rapists or whatever, they'd be like he even used condoms to cover up.
Oh, because they have a
cover up
latex, the residue or some kind of shit.
As it were, not like there's an excuse for it, but if you just have someone just sloppily do that, then it's like, oh, well, the guy's an animal, so you know, what do you expect? But like when you have this, like the person actually put a condom on, and it's like even more sadistic in a way to the people profiling it because the person took the time to like put a condom on their penis to. It makes sense. It makes sense in my mind.
It makes sense to me.
If you're breaking it down like that, you know, you have a animalistic act like that, like this horrible monster, you know, thing that's happening, and then you have you're committing this, and then you have the forethought to like, oh, I better put a condom on so I don't get my ejaculate and DNA everywhere.
Right. That's very smart.
Oh, Tim's leaving. That
Bye,
was
Tim.
it. All these episodes, it took that. That's finally he's gone.
Jesus. Do you think we should have stopped was it Hitler, Mussolini?
Who out there had talking about serial killers and their ejaculate as the line in the sand for Tim?
You don't?
Well, I know someone out there had that. When you hit us up at brute.n.fruit@gmail.com and let us know if you had that.
Yeah. I wonder where we lost him.
I'm guessing the moment he got up and got out, which is talking about serial killers coming.
I feel like there's been a lot of times where I would expect a normal person to get up and be like, "This is not. I can't do it. This is inappropriate."
Well, we found it. We found it there.
Jesus.
For those of you listening, this is the last episode of the Zen Room. This is the Zen Room finale.
That's right.
I guess it's taking us the whole
Migrating.
episode. We're migrating.
On to bigger and better things.
Bigger and better things. It's the finale here in the Zen Room. We've had a lot of great moments.
A lot of great ads. A lot of great sponsors.
We had a lot of great
A lot
times
of great
here.
life-changing moments that we've all experienced here and recorded.
This will always be the birthplace of this program. This studio, this Zen Room is. It's gonna. There's a warmth to it. There's
A familiarity.
familiarity, coziness. There was a lot of booze, a lot of drugs, a lot of albums, a lot of great times, a lot of songs created. This is I would be lying if I said this room didn't have a magical je ne sais quoi about it.
A lot of stains
Yeah.
made.
And I think maybe that could just be the creative energy that happens when we're together. So maybe we're bringing that with us to the next space. But I would like to think that the Zen Room had some sort of magic to it.
I think it's a combination. It's like Abbey Road. It's got a certain. I think it's situated latitude, longitude. There's a certain space where.
Can you find
It
our
primes-
our direct coordinates?
Why? Are we gonna give that out?
He just mentioned latitude, longitude. I'd like to
Yeah,
know.
We're
what
gonna be bombed if we give that out. It's gonna be a missile.
Well, hopefully it's a good missile, not like a Russian missile or a Muslim missile.
Okay,
Can it be a Chinese missile?
it could be a
a
Chinese
Chinese
missile.
brand, please.
It might be Indonesian.
Oh no. You know they're gearing up to be the next world superpower.
Yeah.
What is
right.
my current location? Where am I? What are my coordinates? Come on, Google.
I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that.
What are my coordinates?
I'm sorry, Dave. I cannot divulge that information.
God damn it! I just want my. What are my coordinates?
Do I really want to give our coordinates out?
I can sense your frustration.
Damn it, Hal! I want to know where we are. What are my coordinates?
I can sense your frustration, Dave.
Yeah, so that's it
I'm
for the
sorry.
Zen Room.
I can't do that. I'm sorry. I can't do that.
I can't figure it out.
I'm sorry. I can't do that. I'm sorry. I
Lay,
can't do
Washington. Miroderma. Where am I? Oh, that's buzzing.
that. We're north of Seattle and south of the North Pole.
Yep.
Yep. In the United States.
Yeah. That's like appliance delivery ranges. Yeah, we'll be there from anywhere between 10 a.m. and midnight,
Yep.
maybe. And then 11 p.m. rolls around. They're like, yeah, we're still working on it. And then 11:59, they're like, yeah, we're not gonna be able to be there till maybe like 6 or 7 months from now.
Yeah.
So Tim, should we inform the listener why we have to leave the Zen room?
Well, yeah.
I don't think they need to know. I don't.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like we've been really, we don't really pull any wool over our listeners' eyes, and I don't know, man. I kind of felt. I'd feel wrong if I'm saying that I'm completely happy about leaving this space. This is a really special space to us, and Tim, yeah, I guess you tell him what happened.
You don't have to.
I
if
bought
you're not
a
comfortable.
piece of land that we're gonna with a house and some rooms, and we're gonna use one of them as the studio. I was able to leverage the money I made selling my previous home to BlackRock.
But you also sold the studio to them as well. Which
Yeah,
is-
well, I figured
Was that a
like,
recommendation from Neil Young?
No, but I learned about. I couldn't remember where I heard their name before, but then I noticed. Oh yeah, Neil Young mentioned them, but yeah, I sold the property. I guess like 2/3 of the neighborhood was already owned by them, so they didn't even need to look at the property. They just bought it. They just sent me a check and.
So what
Thank
about
you.
all the people that are living in your home? You know,
Well, they're still there. I took Tom and Jenny and I said we're gonna get a better home, kids, and we left.
so you left the church.
Yeah, that's pretty much over. I think I was in it for the good part, and got out while it was still cool. Not gonna sit there and age like the rest of them poorly,
Where are you going? Where are you
Spoiled
going with the
milk.
kids?
Oh, it's this new property we're gonna have the studio at, which I will not divulge the location of.
I hope it's not going to be like the Shining situation.
So what happened to your wife? Your wife's not coming with?
Like I said, I think
I got your
we had a
Is
good
that her name?
run,
Oh, it's
but
Julia.
it's time to face the facts, and I just don't think there's love left there. I think it's over.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've been thinking about it lately, and I just don't think it's really working out.
Yeah.
She's gonna stay there with her son, and
With her
those
son?
people-
Her son? That was your son.
It's both of you.
I thought you guys had this child together.
Little Asian kid. or-
well, yeah, I guess he's not my son.
Oh,
Shocker.
I was kind of
I'm shocked.
got a bit.
Yeah, totally out of left field.
I definitely didn't see that with his,
A DNA
features.
test,
Yeah.
and he is not my son.
He had 8 pounds of hair on his head when he was born. Spiky hair and like the swollen, slanted eye. I'm shocked.
Yeah, I thought those were my eyes, but I guess they weren't.
These eyes.
This I love sing la la with the noise and with the heaven.
Oh, yeah.
In your eyes, dum, 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 dum.
Light the heat.
Your eyes,
I am complete.
your eyes,
I see the door
your
of a
eyes,
1,000 churches.
your eyes,
The resolution
your eyes,
of all my fruitless
your
searches.
eyes.
Oh, I wanna be that complete.
Why are you yelling?
I wanna touch the light I feel I see in
Your eyes, in your eyes.
Great shit.
Yeah, that was great. Guys.
So you stole
That's-
your children and
That's how Tim, when Tim looks in the eyes of his illegitimate children, he thinks of Peter Gabriel.
Well, I took
He
my
looks-
real children.
Just imagine he looks into his newborn son's eyes and it zooms in and out.
love I don't like to see so much pain, so much wasted.
In your eyes. Go ahead.
I took them and I said, I think I've got a good case that she's an unfit mother and that they will be in my custody.
How is
from
she
here on
unfit?
out. And I figured you guys would help at the house, with the kids and the studio's there.
Just because she stopped working out doesn't mean she's not good enough to be a mother. Like, she's out of shape, no big deal.
She's in a
Have
sex
mercy,
cult.
Tim.
She's in a sex cult with a
Well,
child.
so were
Wow.
you.
I'm not.
But you were.
You were.
There's no proof of that.
You were living in a room.
You were talking about
you
it.
were you were exclusively having gay sex for the last
That's
3
not
weeks. I
true
thought.
at all. That's
Hey-o,
not
high
true.
five.
No. There's nothing to high five about.
I thought you were living in the men's quarters.
Well, yeah, it's what is it called? This is like a brotherhood.
Like a jerk off room.
Not well, when no one else is around.
That's what that's what I like to refer to when I have like a three-way on Grinder. It's called a brotherhood.
It was non-sexual in nature, and I got out
Well,
with the kids.
You're lost, bud.
Got out with the kids, and you guys are gonna help me, I think. And we're gonna.
What about your nephew?
We got a new compound.
What about your nephew?
I don't know. He's fucked.
Is he still in the trains or is he back on the religious?
I don't even know.
Yeah, his nephew's like Paul Dano and
He hasn't been leaving the room.
There Will Be Blood. He's very entrenched in this very silly religion.
He's doing his own thing. I don't know. I got out of there and I sold the house to BlackRock, and they are gonna find out what's going on. I guess I don't know.
So what did you tell Cliff?
But I didn't say anything. I just left.
So who's gonna get him his groceries now?
He's gonna have to figure out how to feed him. I mean, he's got all the women there to
Yeah.
take care of his needs, so figured they could do it.
I thought it was fucked up how you just walk around the house naked. I mean, there's children there.
Yeah, rude. Or is there a stark difference between like the quarters, like, or does he walk around naked regardless about who's present? Like, does he
I
answer
don't
the
think
door
he
if there's
even-
Uber Eats? Does he answer the door?
He doesn't
Hanging
have
dong.
to answer the door. He has people for that. But I think he's just gonna, he did whatever he wanted. So yeah, anyone could see he was not embarrassed. We'll just say that.
So he's a man of confidence.
But there is an inspector probably headed
Well, when
there. I
you're
think.
when you're in a bedroom for like 16 hours of the day, just laying pipe to the every
Just
female in the house,
slaughtering puss.
you're gonna walk around that house with like residue on your donger, flopping to the wind,
Yep.
rehydrating yourself because you're providing a service as the bull, the stud of the house to the women.
Yeah.
You're keeping them.
I don't
in
think
line.
it was like that.
I
in
mean,
there.
hero might be exaggerated, but like
A stud. He's a stud.
he's a stud, and he's
You guys, it was just a room. It's not like
He's emptying clips
no.
at a rate.
but he doesn't have to.
Right.
But he does it anyways
Because he wants to.
because he cares, and he cares about perpetuating the
I'm
species.
pretty sure they just like knit and stuff up there. I don't
Sure.
Okay.
make clothes.
Maybe while
Yeah.
they're waiting their turn.
I can't tell you how many times I've knitted in somebody's butthole.
Who would want to do that? Just get fucked all the time. That's
Right. It doesn't. It's not fulfilling.
No. What's the long-term fulfillment from that?
Well,
As a short-term fulfillment, I can
I
tell
don't.
you that.
I don't think they. I think more highly of them than that.
for everything
well,
I've heard, there's a long fulfillment as well.
Right.
And
And-
thick.
Yeah. And a very heavy deposit.
This
Yeah.
is not making any sense to me.
The deposit
Heavy.
is very important.
Heavy deposit.
Yeah. A very lofty deposit.
That's why he needs to rehydrate so often.
That's right. Because of all the deposit. He never makes withdrawals. I'm guessing that's one of the things about Cliff that
No, I handled. I handled all the money. So
Okay. Oh, okay.
So
that's what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, the financial withdrawals and deposits, of course.
I was pretty good at that.
I'm not
That
talking
was
about
your
it as a
job.
dick
Yeah.
deposit.
his job was to make dick deposits.
What?
Yeah,
Come on.
to donate the dong.
No one wants that. You gotta pay. You gotta pay to get that taken care of.
And
I have paid.
your wife is coming with you to the new house.
No, that relationship is done.
So she's sticking around with the guy making dick deposits.
Hey-o, high five.
Don't touch me.
Come on.
Don't-
The guy's making deposits.
Don't touch me.
Various deposits. I wash my hands.
I think they're just
At least it's
they're still into the religion
This
deeply,
guy should-
and
This guy should be your David Carradine. Like,
What is
he's
that?
Chuck Norris. You should be looking at him like he's an icon. He's a god.
well, I left with the money, and they are gonna have to figure out the hard way what's going on with the house. So
So this is like you.
Fair.
This is like you being like spiting them.
why would I?
It's like a little kid when he's like, "I'm gonna take
No,
my
it's
ball,
not.
and you're not invited to my birthday."
Yeah, it's like it's cheating.
No. Okay, it's a very financially smart thing to do. I'm not acting like a child.
That clip every time. I'm sorry. That clip every time.
Why are you yelling?
I didn't want to shit in my pants.
You have turned into a retarded person.
Oh, anyways.
So
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I'm
We're
no,
gonna be moving
what is
in.
this?
While I'm at work, I figured since you guys are basically vagrants, you could watch the kids a little bit. While I'm selling and making
Very
money.
not comfortable with that idea.
Well, that's where the studio's gonna be. It's where
This
the
ain't
studio's gonna
no
be.
daddy daycare bullshit. I'm not Eddie Murphy.
This ain't no country club either.
I mean, I think it's good for kids.
This is L.A.
It's good for kids.
All I want to do is have a little fun before I die, said the man next to me out of nowhere. Says his name was William, but sure it was Billy or Mac or Buddy. And it was plain ugly to me. And I wondered if he ever had a day of fun in his whole life.
The kids. It's good for kids to overcome diversity, and
I like a good beer
You two
buzz
would
early
definitely
in the
present a
morning.
challenge.
And Billy likes to peel the labels from his bottles of Bud.
Yeah.
they'll
Sorry, Tim,
they'll
continue.
have to learn how to deal with people that, even though they're like older than you, they're less mature, and you see your place in the world. That's what the kids are going to learn from you guys, I think. It's going to mature them.
I like to point out
Wrong.
that you're not parent of the year here, Mr. Sex Cult.
I'm not part of any cult. I was in a religion that failed, and some people
There's no
decided
such
to
thing as
stick
a
around.
failed religion. There's a failed cult. There's a failed
It's a failed religion.
no.
It was holy, and it is no longer.
It wasn't never holy.
So I pulled my family out.
You were weak.
No,
You were in a really vulnerable
I won.
spot in your
I won the
life.
arm wrestling over half the time to get the bed for the night.
Okay.
So I'm not weak.
Right, you have a good jerk off muscle from.
Who's
Yeah.
banging your wife right now?
We are separated, and I do not deal with her business. Okay, that's
You
her,
should be dealing with your wife's
That's
business.
her business.
No.
She has a child with someone else. I don't know who, and possibly an Asian gentleman.
That's an insult.
Why? What?
An Asian with a dong that can satisfy is like a unicorn from
Or
Mars.
like a great white buffalo.
right. It's a
Yeah.
it's a kraken.
Well, I wouldn't know about that.
An Asian with a dick that can satisfy.
But they did- hold on, but
is
they
a-
did- they
is
did
a
come up with the
is
Kama
a
Sutra.
cryptozoology.
Didn't they come up with the Kama Sutra though?
Well, yeah, but that was 500 years ago.
And you-
when if you had a 4-inch dick, you were considered to be Ron Jeremy.
You like Asians?
Right, because there's not. Yeah.
I assume.
I like Asians because they smell good
Okay.
and they got good sphincter.
Oh.
Good sphincter action.
Oh.
Have you ever banged an Asian?
No.
No.
I've banged 308.
308.
Christ.
That's.
You're
wow.
Dr. Fauci's favorite patient.
That's how I started AIDS.
Spreading the sickness. That's impressive.
Da da da. Come on, get down with the sick. No, I'm just kidding. I only banged like 11 Asians.
Oh. Okay. Still pretty decent.
Thank you.
I've got 0. But
How many Asians do you have?
plenty of
Brute?
white chicks.
I don't know. I'm trying to think now. I have any.
I was with
I don't think I
I was
have
with
any.
a short chick once.
Oh.
No, wait. There was one kind of ambiguous. She, meaning like she could have been Latino, she could have been our Latina, or could have been Asian, could have been Native American.
That's the hard thing about.
I only
some
knew
of
her
these
for about
people.
45 minutes.
That's the hard thing about some of these
Right
like
on.
these races.
That's a good way to do it. Women, sex and love should be separate.
Exactly. I was on one of the
I
dating
disagree.
sites.
I love having sex.
Well,
I was
that's,
on one of the dating sites
that's an addiction.
and matched with at the time. Fuck. I was like 24, 5, 6 ish, maybe 27, and she was like 38, something.
Nice.
Yeah. And we're on one of those dating sites and we matched. And so we started talking, started texting. She sent me a picture of her legs in a bathtub.
Oh,
She lived on the other side. I lived in Lake Seaman. She lived on the other side of the lake. But I had to come pick her up and bring her back to my place. So I picked her up, brought her back to my place. We went in my room. She basically just got right up on top of me.
That's the way to do it.
Lordy. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy.
That was the wrong one.
She was doing the one where she's facing away from me, but she's on top.
Reverse cowgirl.
But she's got her legs intertwined underneath mine.
oh,
Ooh.
that's good straddle.
She was really grinding.
Oh,
That's good
dude.
sh- that's good straddle action.
I gave her a high five afterwards. Like,
Yeah.
legit was like that. I looked at her. I was like, that was like top. That was like top notch
tier.
like leg that I've ever had.
She's like, all right, next.
Pretty much. We got back in my car. I drove her home, dropped her off, went back home.
Mm-hmm.
Never talked to her again.
Good, good.
It was great.
Oh,
Great
she's not
sex.
working.
Because it wasn't that kind of.
Right.
It wasn't that kind of connection. It was
It was a fleet of the moment. Like
We both need to come, so.
right. We both need a brick. We need to have a brick sesh. That was a hoist. I heard.
that was a lean.
Sounded like a
that was a
boil.
hoist.
Sounded like
You
a
hoisted.
boil to me.
I didn't hoist. My ass was still on the seat. I leaned and the seat leaned with me.
When you lean, that's a hoist.
No, a hoist is when you lift up.
It looked like you were trying.
But I wasn't. I was leaning, and then the chair leaned with, so I just pushed anyways.
That's like if you try to rape, but then
They like it.
No, but then you decide you've given up halfway towards. Then yeah,
Wait, which one is
you're
this?
left with a hoist
You become the Pokemon Master.
and a
Alright.
foist
Yeah. That was a hoist.
and an attack on your friends.
It wasn't a hoist.
I feel assaulted.
It wasn't a hoist. Was it a hoist?
It was not a hoist.
If we're
That's
getting-
what I thought.
Yeah.
It was
That's what I fucking thought.
Things are being thrown.
it was a lift and it
Was it a hoist?
wasn't a hoist.
That's what I thought.
Why are you yelling?
This whole production's bullshit. I'm tired of it.
All right, just delete that last
Okay, okay.
when it starts getting.
Always.
He's getting upset.
don't-
You're always telling me, and I'm telling you it's not.
You shouldn't say that, Burger.
It wasn't a foist. I feel bad for
I'm
saying it was
done.
a foist.
I don't want to see this shit anymore. Okay? Get this equipment and get the fuck out of here. Done. I need hoist! You are not a hoist! You are not a hoist!
I guess we're done in the Zen room.
I was hoping we'd have a better.
Get out! Get out!